Welcome to the Tennessee EMS Education Association's Leadership Podcast, where self-leadership takes center stage. Hosted by Eric Kloss, tenured paramedic, master's prepared nurse with a focus on leadership, national speaker, and two-time author. This podcast is your go-to resource for transforming yourself into the leader your team deserves. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments as we dive into inspiring stories and expert insights every episode.
We have a very special friend and guest here on the podcast today, Miss Christy Tomlinson. Thanks for joining us.
Glad to be here.
We're excited to do this. We talked yesterday, and this is sort of a surprise because we connected. Obviously, all of us are like an extended family. And it was like, yeah, we're going to sit down and we're going to have a conversation with you for a few minutes. So, yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Glad to be here.
Well, we're excited to have you here. Christy, tell us a little bit about your career. I'll start with saying you are retired. So this is one of those things where you're the first one on the podcast that I think has retired. And so this is exciting for me because I think many of us that have been doing this a long time, we are going to get to that point of retirement. And so tell us how long your journey was and what year you retired and where'd you work?
So now I still have my license. This is my 42nd year in EMS. I retired from Nashville Fire Department after 31 years as a district chief. Taught for 15 years at Columbia State, and it's all I've ever done. Right out of high school, I never had another job.
Yeah,
never had another career. I was one of the ones that was meant to do this.
I will ask you this, and I've never asked this to someone that has been retired. You said you retired in 2018. How hard was that to say, this is it, right? Because I think we're all wired. This is what my perception, correct me if I'm wrong, Christy. Like, we're wired, and then all of a sudden you lay it down and you walk away. Was it hard, easy?
I heard my whole life from those before that you'll know when you're done.
Okay.
And I did.
What was that like? Tell us about how you know. I'm curious.
What really started it was I had some surgery.
Okay.
And recovered from my surgery. I was getting up, getting dressed, going back to that first shift. And suddenly it hit me. What am I doing? What am I doing? I've been doing this 31 years. That started the process.
Okay.
And it took 6 months. And it didn't get better. I didn't hate my job. I was just done with my job.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I finally looked at my husband and said, "Can I come home?" He said, "Absolutely." I had my time in. I had everything. Right. But the other side of this is, in Nashville, we can retire at 53. There's a few juggling things, but that's the earliest you can retire. I always planned to be able to go at 53.
Okay.
So I aimed for that. Didn't have to, but if I wanted to, I could.
You had planned this out, right, from the very beginning.
I made sure. But I didn't plan to leave. That was the thing. I didn't go. I'm going to work till 53, and then I'm never going back. No, I would just set my life up financially. That if I wanted to go, I could. So a little bit after 53, I wanted to go. Yeah. So I did. So when I walked, to answer your question, since I've walked away, no regrets.
Yeah, that is.
I haven't missed it a minute. Loved my career, but it was over.
Yeah, I'm reflecting back when we taught some new providers, and I taught a financial section of that. I've never been to a financial EMS class. I had a financial class early on, and so I tackled it. And it was amazing of some of the things that we were saying, which were very, very basic about, what is your number to retire? And then do you know what you need to do to get that number and why that number? And the light bulbs that went off. But I think you bring up a really good point about that you although you didn't expect to leave, you set yourself up and you thought about, this is what I need to do.
From my early 20s.
I love that. That is such an important lesson.
From my early 20s, I knew...
You knew what you had to do.
I knew where you had to be. And Metro's plan, technically by Metro rules, I could have left at 47, except you have to be 53.
Right.
All the other numbers fit, but you had to have that milestone. And
Sure.
coming on so young.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you come on young, the younger you come on, the longer you're going to be there. So I had always, from early 20s, made sure that by that age, if I wanted to leave, I could.
So for those that are listening that don't have the opportunity to work for a big metropolitan government, I have not. And you may need to do additional things because
you're going to have to do it on your own.
Correct. You're going to have to do
your own pension plan.
You got to do your own plan. So I would recommend, and I know you would strongly agree, is wherever you are, you still need a professional, a coach, to at least help you understand where you are and really what that means.
But don't wait for that. You don't
do it early.
You don't have to wait to talk to the professional coach. It's a real easy number. Wherever you are, start with 15%, stick it in a bank, stick it in a Roth IRA. Eventually, you'll talk to this financial guy.
Yes.
But you don't have to wait to talk to him. You are 21 years old.
That's right.
The last thing you're thinking about is retiring. You're not going to miss 15% of your pay.
That's right. That's
All
right.
Now, when you're 30, okay, talk to this financial guy. Yeah. But guess what? Guess how much money you've already got
exactly right.
saved.
That's right.
And he can tell you if you need to do more.
Yeah. I love that advice. And that is a pretty standard, approach for, what some of the professionals are, the Ramseys, and there's several other ones. Just take it off the top. You're never going to miss it. Put it in there.
You're never going to miss
That's
it.
Right.
But the most important is don't wait to start.
Yeah, I love that advice.
Don't wait to start. You don't have to wait and talk to somebody.
As it goes fast. The time goes fast.
Yes. I blinked.
Yeah. I'll be 56 soon, and I'm so glad that I was in a class, thanks to my wife. I was that know-it-all paramedic at, just shy of my 21st birthday, and she said, hey, there's this financial class. And I was like, I don't need a financial class.
And she said, yes, she did.
She did. And I was like, wow, I'm an idiot because I
Did you meet Dave Ramsey?
Well, actually, Dave Ramsey's the one that taught the class.
Yeah.
It was back before he blew up, obviously. And so, yes, it was him. He actually originally taught the class.
Yeah, those of us lucky enough to have found him when we were young.
Game changer.
Yeah.
Complete game changer.
And I still give my books away, his books away to young people.
Yeah.
The first books, here, do it this way.
Yeah. I'll share with you.
Sorry, we ended up being an advertisement for Dave Ramsey.
Yes, hey Dave, if you're listening.
Hey Dave.
Let me tell you
Here's a couple of old folks that we made it.
So I'll tell you this, Christy. I didn't plan on sharing this, but so our daughter is married, and this is such a cool story. I wanted her on here to share it, and maybe that will happen one day. So she is getting ready to start a doctorate program of PT school in Johnson City, and she's getting married as soon as she finishes her undergrad. Her husband's already graduated, and so they're getting married. And we gave Clarissa, my wife, and I, we gave her a financial gift. And this is what we did. We said, we're going to give you a gift. It was what we could afford. It wasn't $50,000. We did what we could afford and what we had saved. And we said, but here's the stipulation, is that we're not giving you the money unless both of you, her husband's name's Paxton, an amazing guy, you take the financial peace class.
Yeah.
That was the stipulation. And we also said that we have no control over your wedding. And here's what we mean. Here's the gift. You manage your wedding and you tell us what you need, but here's your money. So it's a lot easier to spend somebody else's money, right?
Sure.
So we did. And here's the crazy thing. She shared a testimony at church the other day about this. They went through that class, and I mean, it created like monsters inside.
Yeah.
She graduated. Paxton was the primary supporter with her doctorate program, debt-free.
Nice.
And they are on the strict budgeting, saving for a house, and both of their educations were completely paid. So I'm a huge fan of just the simple principles. You can get very overcomplicated, but it's very simple. Tell us your experience about when you took the class and you're like, what were some of the things that stood out to you?
Never actually took the class.
Okay.
Read the books, listened to it religiously on the radio.
They're everywhere, by the way. Yes, those calls, the podcast. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, listen to it, and I discovered him when I was 24.
Wow.
Maybe.
Okay.
So I just turned 60 last Thursday. So for 40 years now, and I was explaining to my granddaughter not too long ago, she started her first job at 13 last year. She just worked her second year at 14. Really proud of her. Had to make her spend money.
Wow.
I finally said, I literally made the child go buy an iPad. She said, aren't you supposed to tell me to save it? Well, it's not a problem. I need you to know why you work.
Mm-hmm.
You're saving every dime.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I need you to understand. Anyway, I digressed. But I was telling her about it and about the plan and about how I said, I don't budget anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I don't sit down and make a monthly budget because I don't have to.
That's the difference right here. Yeah, you know.
Once you get to a point in life, it's like, I can relate it to EMS. How many of your students have gone out to some old paramedic? Oh, we don't do it that way out in the streets. That's book stuff. And I tell students, they do it that way. They still, in their brain, are going, BSI, scene safe, this.
It's an algorithm.
They just don't think it anymore. They're not doing the steps anymore. But it's muscle memory.
Yeah, it's muscle memory.
And I said, so just smile at them and say, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
When they say, oh, we don't do it that way on the street, they do.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't think of it in the same way.
Yeah.
So don't worry about what they say.
Right.
Just learn it.
That's right. It's an algorithm.
It's an algorithm.
I mean, it's just like opening the airway. It's like, hey.
But you don't think the steps anymore. Well, it was the same way with financial stuff.
Yeah.
I worked the steps really hard when I was young. I don't have envelopes with cash in it anymore. It saved me when I was 20 and a young parent, or 27 when the kids came along.
Right.
I had discovered it a few years before. Kind of did it for a while. Then suddenly life got real expensive. When the kids started coming along,
Right.
I went back to envelopes.
I love that.
It mattered.
Yeah, it matters.
Yeah.
What do you think some of the challenges are for, young, when you're young in EMS? This is a generalization, but because we're in the helping people business, I think we don't focus on ourselves like we should because we don't feel we have to. We almost feel like we're invincible.
10 foot tall and bulletproof.
Correct. In every aspect, right? Whether that's, physically, whether that's mentally, and maybe financially. And I think there's some health benefits to that if you understand that it is a double-edged sword, because we are the worst for seeking help. And that's in every aspect because we got this. And then there comes a point where you're like, let's do time out here.
Yeah.
I need a lifeline.
Well, we all get a timeout about 40.
Yeah.
Life gives us a timeout. Somewhere between 35 and 45, you're going to get a moment.
Yes.
That says, okay, maybe I need to pay a little more attention here.
Have you had one of those moments?
Oh, sure. Several. Blow out a knee, blow out an elbow, blow out your brain. Literally, suddenly, my brain is not functioning. I'm in trouble. And, okay, go get help.
Right. So let's transition into that, Christy. So you had shared with me earlier that you battled some thoughts and some stress that all of us, I think, carry. If you've been doing this a while and you were exposed to high speed stuff, and I say high speed like, a lot happens in Davidson County and with Metro and several other counties. And you want to talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. So, you talk about the difference between urban services versus, the heavy rural services. Sure, I made 1,000 calls a month, but I wasn't with them, each patient 3 hours at that time. That's two different stresses, but they are equal.
They do the same damage.
They're equal in what happens. My big PTS moment and my wall in 11 shifts, 24/48, we were still on that. In 11 shifts, I lost 10 people. 5 of them were kids. All right. So that was boom, boom, every shift. And sometimes a couple in a shift. With no recovery time. There was no recovery. To where even coworkers were noticing. David Sewell. Remember David?
Oh, I do.
All right. David was my preceptor. He was my preceptor when I first started Metro. David Sewell and Marcus Bagwell started me out. Then he was my instructor in paramedic school. He even noticed this run of bad luck I was having and started picking on me about it a little bit. About number 6, he was doing what we do. Let's throw a little dark humor in there. I'm going to start calling you Dr. Death. And I'm like, yeah, no kidding, man. Go another shift. David sees me. He says, well, I took over from you. He said, I lost one today. And I said, so did I. And he stopped. He said, go home. No, I'm all right. He said, no, you're done. Go home. That was probably on number 8. On number 10, which was the 5th child, they found me sitting on the back of the ambulance with a 1,000-yard stare. I didn't know who I was or where I was. And they sent me home for a couple of months and put me with a really good guy, a really good therapist, to where it was only a couple of months. And he had me back up and on my feet and out there and then learning. I was one of the first ones on Nashville trained. CISM came along about 2 years later. It wasn't even a thing. Nobody was ever thinking about critical incident stress management. But then that came along, and I took the training. Of course, taking the training to help others is what helps you.
Right.
So I spent the next 20 years of my career doing pretty good. I learned my reactions. So if I had a bad call, I was able to come home to the family and say, okay, mom ain't going to be right for about 6 weeks. That's how long my reactions are. In those reactions, I'm a stutterer. But I only stutter after I've had a critical incident. And I will stutter for about 6 weeks. Can't say it with a mouthful. And I can't do math. So you learn your reactions. Learn what's going to happen to you when you have the SIDS baby, when you have whatever your trigger is. Old people were mine. Mm-hmm. Old people who die traumatically, I hate that. Those really mess with me personally. So be able to say, yeah, that's going to mess me up for a couple of weeks. And tell your family. Let them know. So I went. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. That's so powerful. Before you move on, I just wanted to park there for just a second because which I've shared on the podcast and in national stages about, my post-traumatic stress story. And, you bring up something really important. Two things I wanted to park on for just a minute. One is you got to know yourself. Mm-hmm. And I think that is not, we defend and we justify our poor and bad behavior. That's not good. So to know your behavior, I think sometimes that we have to have those closest to us. We have to set an environment up where you can receive feedback, because we overcompensate. And our irritation can be defendant, because we all have, whatever you classify it, type A, assertive, whatever it is, like that's what we do. That's how we're trained. So I think that is one thing that I didn't want to let that pass, is because you have to know that.
Whether you call us type A, type B, whatever personality, what we are in all of that is fixers.
Yes.
We're fixers.
And take action in fixing.
And fix it.
Yep.
It's broken, we fix it, whatever it is. Whether it is a patient or a light switch.
That's exactly right.
We're fixers, and we get nuts when we can't fix it.
Yes.
It's been the hardest thing for me to learn throughout my life, is to, especially with kids, my kids, and now I'm raising a grandchild. I was done, then I got to start over, is to be able to go, nothing I can do about that kid.
Yeah.
Yep. She starts high school tomorrow.
Oh my goodness.
The anxiety, and it's her first, she's been in private school, so it's first in public school. She is a disaster. Nothing I can do.
But you're in a better place because I'm sure you have major influence on, that's real to her.
Sure.
But you can help and you can coach because of your experience, right?
I said to her the other day, Tuesday night, I was here late. We'd gone to open house, and she's sitting there, and she said, just kind of looked at me. She said, "Nana, it's real." I said, "Honey, I know it is. I just can't fix it.
Yeah.
All I can do is sit here and ask you to trust me that by the end of the next week it'll be gone." I said, "That's all I can do."
That's right.
So learning how to do that, oh my.
Yeah, it's huge.
That's nothing does that but age.
Yeah.
We got to get old to figure that out. So, with the PTSD, and I'm very lucky in one thing, I don't have nightmares. I feel so sorry for our coworkers and our peers that their PTSD brings on nightmares. I don't have nightmares.
Yeah.
I never have. I don't remember my dreams much, but I have most of my dreams that I do remember are these movie dreams that are all kind of cool. I can't imagine those of my peers in PTSD who have nightmares.
Yeah.
All my heart goes out to that.
Me too.
So that's that's the reason for my 42-year career. Total, like I said, I'm still in. I'm not working now, but I could.
Right.
I didn't have that.
So you've been officially retired since 18, so we're in 25 now.
Yep.
So that's 7 years.
Yep.
Do you still think about some of the cases and the calls that you've worked, and how is life that you're not stimulated by seeing the death or the destruction or the violence?
It took me a while to realize, and I was confused. Suddenly I was thinking about those bad calls more. I was having intrusive thoughts. All of a sudden, just some bad scene would flash up.
Were you doing anything on those, or it just happened?
No, it just happened.
Okay.
I've always been pretty careful not to tell, I love war stories. I don't tell those. I don't tell the bad war stories. Somebody says, "What's the worst thing you've ever seen?" Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, let me tell you the funniest thing I've ever seen. And I give them that. Because there's more of those. There's more good stories.
And, would you say that? It's funny because we talked about that at the provider course.
Yeah.
I don't want to tell you because I don't want to think about it.
Yeah. I don't tell you because I
Like,
don't want.
it's beyond what you can even imagine. So move on, right?
Yeah, move
But
on.
the good stories are great. It's
But
a
let me
great
tell you,
point.
let me tell you,
I
and they're
love that.
happy with the funny stories. But I found myself now. Who I will tell the bad stories to is my husband, who is a retired captain. My son that was in the Navy and had his own share, and my son that is on the fire department now. So them, I'll tell the bad stories to.
When you feel like you need to, is that fair? When you feel like you need to
I found
decompress?
myself doing it all the time.
Okay.
I found myself reliving some of these bad stories and telling them, and I said, again, know yourself. Why am I doing this? Why am I now reliving and telling and thinking about the bad things? I started asking other people who've retired, because I know quite a few now, and they're doing the same thing. I said, are you thinking about bad calls more? And they're like, yeah, eyes will get big. I asked somebody this morning who's officially retired. He still teaches, but he's not working anymore. I asked him, I said, do you think about the bad calls and stuff now more? Eyes got big. He said, yes, I do. I've asked enough people and talked to enough retirees that this is a thing. I have a theory as to what it is and why we're doing it.
Tell us about it.
We don't have the good stories. We don't have any new good stories to hold the bad ones at bay. That's a theory.
Okay.
I've got to test it. I need to send out some surveys and see, is this, of the 50 retirees I've talked to, it was 100%. Said they think about the bad calls more now than they did when they were working.
Is it better for you now that you're 8 years, and what have you done to alleviate it, or has it been alleviated?
It's better now that I've recognized it.
Okay, so awareness.
I'm recognizing, okay, this is something. This is something. So back to self-care that I used when I was working. Let's walk a little more. Let's meditate a little more, and tell yourself when the thought comes in, say, all right, out, move it out. And I was always very good at that.
Okay.
An intrusive thought hits that is an actual intrusive thought. I was very good at learning to go, out. If I have to deal with that, but it's a 40-year-old memory. Okay, I'm done with you. So went back to a little more of taking care of myself, and they're not as bad, but now I'm curious about it.
I'm curious as well.
So when I suddenly think of a wreck, actually, that I did 30 years ago, I try to look around and go, okay, why did I think about that? What just happened? I'm curious about the process now. So it's not bothering me so much.
Okay. I'm not on the truck. I don't do patient care typically. I mean, I will if I have to, depending on the situation. I'm in close proximity a lot just based on, being at the hospital or wherever I am. I'm curious to know, and your word curiosity, I know it's come up and we've said it a lot. I think there are some health benefits to curiosity. Mm-hmm. What happens now when you see an ambulance or a fire truck go by? No. What do you think about? Does it bother you?
Nah. Unless it's going down the road past my house, then I have to go look and see if there's been a wreck out of my road.
Sure.
But I've moved into general squirrel and just watching stuff go by.
Okay. And why I asked that,
there is one difference.
Okay.
Don't let me hear the tones from Metro.
It's instantly
if I'm talking to my son on the phone,
yeah,
and the tones go off,
you're there.
Yeah.
It's burned.
It's a flinch. But sirens don't do it. But the tones,
Okay.
if I'm talking to him. And there's one news station for years I couldn't watch because they had a scanner in the newsroom. And I could hear the tones going off in the background. Peeling potatoes. God.
Yeah. And it's very interesting. You know, when I see an ambulance or a rescue truck, you know, go by, I think what it does for me is I pause. It's not intentionally, but I'm very self-aware, and I don't think about bad things, but I feel almost heavy-hearted because I can relate to where they're going, and I'll see the faces, right? Yeah. And I have maybe an empathetic response to be like, I know how tough your job is. I'm gonna send a prayer your way.
Yeah. So sometimes, and it's funny, we're praying for them, but not necessarily for who they're going for. Mm-hmm. Don't think. Not that I don't want to pray for them. I don't think to. But yes, there's very much in my brain, you know, attaboy, you know, good luck. It happens.
Agreed.
For them.
Agreed.
Yep.
And now that we've survived on that, right? We've been on the other side. You've lost several friends to suicide. Yep. I've lost a number of friends to suicide.
Gosh, I'm having to coach my kid through losing his second. Wow. He's only been on 5 years.
I think for people like us that are open enough to share the stories, and that, you know, we've been there, we know what you're going through. You're not alone. There are so many resources that are out there. The first step, I believe, and you can share your insights on this, is that you have to realize that there are trained professionals, and that whatever you're feeling is normal. Talk about it, but don't think you can do it on your own. Mm-hmm. You need a partner. We've all had partners in this field, and this is the same exact concept, as in you have to rely on your partner. Lee and I, as we've talked about nearly on every episode, you know, as the producer of this podcast, with him and I being partners for many, many years, but we were partners. We knew, and he could call me out if I was having a bad day, and he was like, "Hey man, what's up?" I'd be like, "I'm going to talk about it." "You're going to talk about it. What's up?" But that stress isolates us, where I don't have a choice but to have a partner at work. Yeah. We have a choice whether we're going to take somebody in on our journey, and I think we need to just be mindful of that. First responders are the backbone of our communities, but often funding restrictions leave stations without essential resources. That's where Serve Strong, Corbin Scott Goad Memorial Foundation steps in. They understand that not every response is a rescue, which is why they focus on ensuring first responders are well-rested, physically fit, mentally strong, and equipped with the resources and education they need to save lives. Serve Strong is dedicated to filling in the gaps for first responders, addressing needs that stations might not be able to cover. The foundation exists because of the compassion and professionalism of first responders, witnessed firsthand in the midst of tragic circumstances. If your department needs support, or if you want to support their mission, visit servestrong.us. That's servestrong.us. Serve Strong, Corbin Scott Goad Memorial Foundation. Because when we're strong, our communities are strong too. Tell us, we've been talking a while, Christy, and this has just been so amazing. I'm so grateful.
We've just gone into 2 podcasts.
We have.
Because we're not done yet.
I know. We could talk for like hours here. As we get close to wrapping up, I want you to think about, for people in whatever part of their journey they're in, they're new, they haven't seen that event, and maybe they want to see that event, which is normal, right?
Sure.
We want to do what we're trained to do.
Absolutely.
Give us some advice for these providers that are listening, that or in the field or in the middle of it, or just beginning to be there, what is a couple of things that you could share with them that really could help them?
It's fortuitous that you and I are speaking today. So I told you one of my sons, Ethan, is on the fire department, and he is trained to be part of the USAR team, and he is now.
What is that, by the way?
Urban Search and Rescue.
Okay.
Well, Tennessee Task Force 2, Urban Search and Rescue, got deployed to Texas to the floods to hunt for the folks that were missing. So he's been on 5 years, and here was his first deployment. In that capacity. This was the first deployment any of them have had in that capacity since Katrina. Did great. But they got home Tuesday. Last night, in order to take care of himself, he came and found me, and I listened for about 4 hours. All right? I'm his one he can talk to. Doesn't have to, I just happen to be his mom. All right? But he can also go talk to his dad or his stepdad. We're all in the business. But he knew. He said, as soon as I get home, I said, all right, whenever. Well, it just happened I had to be here. He came here. So know that, so my advice to others is know that you have to talk about it. And for heaven's sakes, talk about it with your spouse. How many people, just recently I was counseling a couple who she's the one who drug him to me. A former student, and he's in the process of, imploding over a call. He says, well, I don't want to tell her. I said, you have to tell her. No, I don't want her to see that. She can't see it. For those who are worried about telling their spouse what's going on because you're trying to protect them from what you've seen and what you've done, they can't see it. They cannot see the picture in your head, but they have to know it's there so that they can know why you are being a grouch, why you're sleeping all the time, why you're drinking too much, why you're doing whatever it is in your bubble of my stress is on overload. You cannot hurt your spouse by telling them what happened to you. Boy, you can hurt them by them not knowing.
And they know something's going on.
Sure.
They know there's a problem.
They would just like to know what.
Yeah, transparency and honesty.
And I said to that spouse, because he actually in front of me told about the 2-year-old. We all know the call. And she was like, oh my God, I didn't know. And I said to him, that's it. You do her a disservice. You do your spouse a disservice by not letting them know what hurts you so badly. But you can't harm them with it. And spouses, you can't fix it. All you can do is listen. And that's all you need to do. But I can't tell you how many times I've given that advice. Is you've got to tell them. You don't have to give them the gory details. But they've got to know, yeah, it was a 2-year-old. Yeah, it was whatever your trigger was. So they can understand why you're going to be the way you are for the next little bit of time. Then, learn your own reactions. My reactions to a critical incident is different from yours.
Yes.
The triggers are different. The symptoms are different. A lot of people, and they can, when you're having issues, do you sleep too much or not enough?
Are you asking me
Yeah.
right now? So it's been different over the years. Early on, I was exhausted all of the time.
But could you sleep?
No, and sometimes I still can't. So,
Yeah.
overtired, yes. So you don't know what is going to happen.
You don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So it's different.
Yeah, it is.
Me, I sleep all the time.
Okay.
I'll sleep 18 hours a day, if allowed, when I am in that mode.
And let's label it unofficially. It would be in the high stress zone where you haven't had a chance to decompress, or your body's decompressing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whenever you're in the acute phase.
Yes.
When you're in the acute phase of whatever's happened. Knowing what's going to happen to you. Again, walked home to the family going, okay, don't let me do math. And pardon me for my speech problem for the next 6 weeks. And I know that it's going to be 6 weeks. Learn your symptoms so that you know when the acute phase for you will be over.
That's right.
There's power in that. There's power in being able to go to the family and go, 6 weeks, guys.
Yeah.
I'm going to be in bed.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so having that somebody to talk to, and talk to him quick. Like I said, he got home Tuesday. He came and we went and had dinner last night.
Such a powerful lesson there.
Yeah, because even though the overarching was he's proud of what he did. My last question was, you went to all this training to do this specific work. Was it worth it? He went, oh yeah. I said, okay, then you know you're right. You could have easily come home and said, never doing it again, which would have been okay too.
Right.
So talk to somebody fast about what's happened.
Even when you don't even know how to process it.
When you don't know how to process it. The more you tell the story, the easier it gets to tell. And tell your story to everybody. Bad car wreck last night. Tell everybody to listen about the bad car wreck. Mm-hmm. You don't have to tell them the gritty details. Tell that to your very few.
Mm-hmm.
But tell everybody wants to hear the war stories. Tell them one.
Tell them you're struggling. Say, hey,
tell them
I'm
one.
off today.
Yeah. Or even if you don't want to, if you don't want to tell them you're struggling, hey, I got a story for you. Here it is. Mm-hmm. The more you talk about it, the easier the telling becomes. And the easier it gets to. A little of the pain leaves with every telling of the story. Is there always going to be residual? Absolutely.
As it is with everything.
It's now part of you.
It is.
You
just have to learn. You have to be in. You have to take responsibility for that. Don't use it as an excuse. It is what it is. You got the scars.
It is what it is.
You've served. It's like the bad knee. It's like the bad shoulder. It's just part of your life.
It's my badge. Yeah. It's my badge.
That's right. A badge is another great way to say.
It's my badge. I earned it.
That's right.
And I know how incredibly lucky I am to have survived it.
Right.
I'm gonna cry now.
Yeah.
I know how lucky I am to have survived that one horribly acute phase I had. And then I learned. And then today, I met a young lady walking around out here in a Metro uniform, and I went, I don't know you. And she said, no, I'm a new hire. Introduced myself. She's been on 4 months. I said, wow, you're still greasy. You're still slimy. Well, she was alone, wandering aimlessly. I picked her up. Me and Lori Lessenberry picked her up, made her go eat breakfast with us. And Danny was there. And as these 360-year-olds are talking to the 23-year-old, this came up and longevity came up. And I listened to his story and her story, and I knew my story. And I said to the young lady, I said, I want you to notice a common denominator from these 3 old farts that are sitting here talking to you. I said, there's a common denominator. I said, therapist. They had both said something about their therapist. And I hadn't mentioned mine, but back in my acute phase, absolutely had one. I said, therapist, I said, you're sitting here with 3 old people who knew when to say, I need big help. So that's the advice. Understand yourself. Know that you're normal. That's the big thing. You're a normal person in an abnormal situation. And know when to pull the trigger and go, yeah, I need a little more help than this. And find a good one.
Keep searching until you do.
Keep searching until you find the one that clicks.
That's right.
Mine unfortunately passed away from cancer. I don't have that now. And if this whole retirement thing doesn't straighten out, I'm going to go find one. My son does.
Yeah.
He came, that was almost a panic attack. He said, well, Mom, I've got a therapist. I went, are you okay? What's going on? Because let me tell you, he had the worst first 6 months of any career I've ever heard on anybody. And I'm like, you all right? He said, yeah, I just want to stay that way.
Being proactive.
God, you're smart. I was not that smart.
Most of us, we survived, thank God, but we weren't. Most of us were not that proactive.
And it's because you talk about it, and I talk about it, and he talks about it. And Ethan is coming in a culture where the older people talk about it. And I said to this young lady today, I said, you're coming in. I said, what you need to realize is it's us that are sitting here and our age, we're the ones that fixed this. We are the ones that said, this is not acceptable. We're losing too many people to just burnout or to suicide. And our age group, Generation 2, I call us Generation 2. Our age, the ones who came in the early 70s, the funeral director boys. And I will stand by, there were no better patient care advocates and customer service advocates than the funeral home boys.
Gen 1.
Gen 1.
Yeah.
And they taught Gen 2. We're Gen 2. We were awful at teaching it to Gen 3. I don't know where that disconnect happened. But Gen 2 is we're the one who came along and said, no, this is not right. And these programs have now...
It's a standard.
To where Gen 3, this young lady today and my kid are comfortable with saying, yeah, I got to talk.
They are, you're right.
Come on.
There's a shift.
Come on, let's do it.
I love that.
I'm kind of proud of that.
We need to be, because we're leaving it better for others. We don't want people to experience what we did. We are, because I fought for this for Metro for years and years and years and years. And my goodness, they have what an incredible program.
Now.
Yeah. Which really
Now.
nobody did years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody did, but it's necessary. Programs all across the country, and we talk about it often, and just because it's part of pre-hospital care, it's part of first responder care, police officers, firefighters, ambulance.
We
rescue.
absolutely can talk about it now, and like I said, we did that, and I'm proud of us 50-year-olds that did that, that said,
no more.
This ain't right.
That's right.
Let's figure this out. Now, it took us 30 years to figure it out, I'm just going to say, and we're still not real good at it, but...
We're making it better.
We are, because, like I said, 2 kids this week talked.
That's a success story.
Yeah.
I am...
But now I got to work on the old people, I need help.
Mm-hmm.
Never have been a researcher, never have done anything in that category. Knowledge is power. We need to see just how big this retirement thing is. Have we got a lot of old paramedics and EMTs drinking themselves to death because they don't realize there's a new set to this? there's the post-career. It hadn't been looked at.
We've never talked about it. Lee and I are looking at you, shaking our heads like the train is moving. There are several of us that are close. Like there are several directors that we've had conversations with that are saying, yeah, in 4 to 5 years, I'm not going to be doing this. There's a lot that is going to be peeling off.
Yes, very much so. And that too is part of the progression of this. For the first 30 years of EMS, you didn't retire from it. You got hurt out of it.
That's a great point.
They didn't get to their end of their career and walk away healthy and happy and heads held high. All right? Those of us who do are still the lucky ones. It's becoming a few more. But, so you had the ones, like I said, most of them got hurt. So, being a full, walking away healthy retiree is new. That's new. And I'm just the first that noticed that there's something funny about it.
Maybe you can lead the charge.
I would love to lead the charge, but I need help because I don't know how. Again,
I don't know if anybody does.
We'll figure it out.
But this is...
Somebody teach me how to make a survey and put it out there,
I think
and we'll do it.
I think we're around enough people right now that could help with that. But I do think that I'm so glad we had this conversation today because it went a place that I didn't think we would go in a very good way, because you're right. We are entering new territory. And maybe a group of us can continue it after we have officially hung our badge up.
Remember that statistic yesterday, shorten the life, EMS professionals shorten their lives by 22 years. Well, let's make sure I want to help make sure those last ones, you're not dealing with the same struggles that you were when you're working and not knowing why.
That's right.
Not knowing why.
Wow. My mind is absolutely going to a place that I didn't think. I hate to end this. You are, we truly, on behalf of me, and I can see Lee and his responses, we are so thankful that you came and you shared this today, Christy, because everybody that listens to this is going to pause and reflect and to know that this is a whole nother side of the story that we haven't talked about. We haven't talked about finance. We haven't talked about retirement. So you have broken that barrier for us, and I truly like you truly made a difference today, and I'm grateful that you joined us.
I would love to help again, because that's like two things that I'm passionate about. Be ready for the end of your career, and now that I'm here, I'm at the end of my career. What is this funny little thing I found?
Yeah.
And
so to be continued.
Yeah,
no doubt.
There's something to it, guys. Because once my curiosity hit, I started asking.
Yeah. Well, I
started asking other, and I will say, my brain made me ask the ones who left standing up, the ones who left hurt. Yes, they have. That's a different mindset. Not saying it, not discounting it, but my little sampling, I wanted to be on the same level. 100% of them have said, "Oh yeah, big eyes. Oh yeah, you too." Mm-hmm. So, it's a small sampling, but it is significant.
It is significant. It is significant. So, folks that are listening, groundbreaking information today, and Christy, we're honored you joined us.
If you're retired and out of the business and you're still having struggle, you're not alone. We don't know why yet, but it's normal. If everybody's doing it, it is a normal reaction. We just got to figure out why.
That's right. Folks, you heard from one of the best. We are grateful that Christy, you joined us on the podcast. Thanks for everybody tuning in. And we're looking forward to continuing this conversation and the journey with you. So look forward to seeing you again soon.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Christy.
All right.